everybody. Hope you're all well. I don't know if I've got anybody in the chat at the moment. I can't see anything yet, but sorry for the last minute decision on live streaming. I just thought I've been trying to film some bits and I'm trying to do this and trying to do that and trying to do everything and still be lazy at the same time, and it's quite difficult, you know, to be lazy, to be busy, to be productive, to be on your bum doing nothing. It's hard juggling all those plates, you know. So yeah, so I thought I'm going to do some live streaming. So I didn't have anything particular. I was going to continue initially with my Lord of the Rings from Rumble Slam. That I thought I'll have a little bit of a break from Rumble Slam. I've painted loads of them lately, and I'll get back to some of them in Mythic, because my favourite game in the world has been criminally overlooked as of late, so thought I'd make a point of showing it a bit of love. So what we got? Sorry, I'm just trying a new format. So got my little face cam. Starkey's Man Cave. Hello, buddy. How are we? Are you well? Thanks for joining. Yes, I've got my new face cam set up. A little bit easier just when I'm taking a breather for a minute, or just to say hello first and say goodbye at the end and stuff like that, and so I can keep up with the torrent of chat, you know, because this turns into very much like Andy's stream and Uncle Atom's stream. It's just constantly on the go, you know, it's like and I'm using a slightly different camera setup, so hopefully I have a slightly better view when I'm painting. Not sure that's actually going to help me, because you'll see always looks a little bit better from a bit further away, hence the name of the channel. So we shall see. Oh, and it's decided to it's decided to crap out immediately. Well, that is annoying. Why have you decided to do that? Why? Oh, technology, you are a cruel mistress. Why have you decided to do that? Sorry, just trying to see if I can sort it out at all, but oh, okay, yeah, that has sort of sorted it out. I reckon. Oh no, don't do this. How infuriating. Technology just sucks sometimes, it really does. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, it's not as crisp an image now because of what I've got to do, but like I said, that's probably going to help me out. So yes, painting some Mythic Bow. So here we go. Right. Oh, so Starkey's Man Cave, what you been up to, my man? So yeah, these are some of my ones I'm working on at the moment. So you got Athena, then Helios, charioteer that rides the sun across the horizon every day, and the virgin hunter Artemis. Make sure that's focusing correctly. Is that focusing? Is it focusing on? Are you auto-focusing or are you manual focusing? You are auto-focusing. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so I'd got these three already started, so I thought I'd carry on a little bit with them, get a bit more done, you know, easy. So yeah, tomorrow I shall be painting with my boy. He's been very eager, bless him, to do some painting for quite some time, and yeah, I'm not putting it off. Just, you know, just stuff gets in the way, isn't it? It's you know, life is life, and as much as I want to just drop everything and do this with him and do that with him, people want me for this and people want me for that. Sorry, I'm just looking for the colours I want. What colours do I want? Leather. yeah, so then to paint with him is just... Starkey's Man Cave, Dead Zone, trying to learn how to play. I'll be painting some Nolzurs while watching. What's a Nolzur, Starkey? What's a Nolzur when it's at home? Let me just have a quick Google of a Nolzur. A Nolzur. Oh, the D&D range, Nolzur's Marvellous Miniatures. Yes, of course. Some of them are really nice. I'm really tempted to buy a couple just because I want to see what they're like, and see if they're any good, because they do look really cool. What's that? What else? Well, I could do that on her. I could do that. Yeah, so yeah, what one from the Nolzur's range, if I've got that right, Starkey, what one from the Nolzur's range is it you're working on? Colour hair does Helios have? I would imagine it's quite blonde, being that he's riding the Sun Chariot every day. Okay, people seem to be fairly mixed. They do seem quite small scale. They're like 28mm, aren't they? But they're like small 28mm. They're not like heroic scale and chunky and stuff, are they? Starkey's Man Cave. They definitely come across like that. Except obviously the big ones, the giants and this, that, and the other. They look plenty chunky. Right. So, start with Athena. I'm going to start to get the owl done, I think, out of the way. Good to do the owl. Generally pretty black, greys and whites and stuff. Just trying to think of my way. Yeah, sorry for being a little bit late. I had a friend of mine literally just as I was about to run down, grab a drink and grab the coffee my wife had just made me. My friend had just sent me a message saying, "Ring me now," and I had 2 missed calls. I was like, "Oh, bugger!" It sounded quite important, and very well could be. Potentially exciting. We shall see. Nothing to say really yet. Starkey's Man Cave, got all sorts. I spend too much time pondering what to paint. I end up running out of time and not doing any. Isn't procrastination is the death of so many things, so many well-intended things as well. I really liked what Andy was saying. I can't remember when he was saying it. Might have been last week's live hobby chat. And he said about what he does is he doesn't have all of the projects out. He hides them and he keeps some tucked away and this and that, so he can sort of focus a little more, and he's not constantly looking at the daunting task that lays ahead of him, sort of thing. And that makes a lot of sense. I kind of do the same. I've got a shelf just up in front of me here that sits above that one of the monitors is sat on, and I've got some tools and bits and stuff underneath. But then on the top, I've got a lot of the stuff I'm working on or stuff I've just done, stuff like that, but there's only ever one or two ongoing projects on there at the moment, at the time. Like all my Rumble Slam is all tucked away, mainly because I had a game of it, but even then it wouldn't be out except the maybe one or two minis I was specifically working on. I take it, do you use them, Starkey, for D&D, or do you use them for all sorts? Because you obviously could, I'm sure they'd be great for things like Frostgrave and this, that, and whatever. Far from need to only be used in just D&D. Good old contrast paints as always. This was it was things like Mythic Battles that really kind of made me eager to invest in contrast paints, because it kind of meant I could. It was the quickest. What I'm trying to say, it was the best, speed version I could do. Once I got the hang of them and I felt comfortable with them, I realised, how to work with them and how to get the sort of, as I feel, the best out of them. Because I don't feel the way that GW sold them, I don't feel is entirely accurate. I think they it wasn't quite what they said it would be. I'm not saying they sold a lie, but they just it's some of the paints just aren't as good at what they say they're for, and certainly a lot of the examples they showed, I don't think the contrast necessarily do as GW made it look like they did. One of the ones that I think is the most bizarre one, and from painting the orcs in Rumble Slam, is the orc flesh. It's I don't think, the point of contrast generally, as my understanding, was that they were supposed to be basically one and done. You could use them as a complete novice beginner, just put on a coat and boom, you could basically consider it done. And the orc flesh is absolutely fine if every orc in your army is a black orc, because it's way too dark. I use the colour that they had for like the Nurgle, like that Death Guard green. I use that as the base for orcs, because I think it's far more, certainly as far as my opinion on orc flesh goes. I think that's absolutely more what it looks like. Give Artemis. I'm not sure what colour hair Artemis was going to have. Lord Maiden, hello Luke. Sorry to be able to watch this live stream after the Pirates of the Dread Sea Kickstarter launched. Well, I hope it's a good one, mate. Are they doing like a live stream for it, Lord Maiden? If you're still there. Don't feel you have to hang around to answer that question. Yeah, I didn't mind the look of that Pirates of the Dread Sea when Andy was showing it. It looked interesting. I've sort of looked from afar at the. Its name has now escaped me. It's the Age of Piracy, and it's a skirmish fighting game. Oh, I cannot. Oh. My mind is saying Buccaneers, but it's not Buccaneers. I cannot remember what it's called now though. But it was, yeah, it's just, 28mm squad warband fighting pirates, and you could fight, on and over ships, and it looked pretty cool, But I don't have time for the ones I do have, so I have to be ruthless. And there's other ones I would get before I got that one, I think, in my mind. What I've just, in fact, I can maybe pick your brain a little bit, Mr. Starkey. Just been vaguely discussing with my friends in game group, doing a little bit of role playing. We've never really done, well, I say we've never really done much. We've never done any. Oh Lord, mate, you're coming back in a bit, eh? Yeah. Awesome, mate. I shall see you in a little bit. Enjoy the launch. Tell us about it when you get back. Yeah, with role playing games, we've only done one, which I ran, and it was the Fantasy Flight Zombie Apocalypse one, where you play kind of as yourself. You don't have to, but the game intends for you to do that, which we did. And I bought ordnance survey maps of where we live, and did it all in our own backyard. And I just said, let's just imagine that we don't have kids, this and that, just to take that moral quandary out of it. Say we're all orphans. Let's not consider family in the mix. This is just, and once you make that detachment, it's fine and it's fun. But we had a really, really good time playing it. I think I did all right running it. I was pleased. Everybody said they had a good time, so that was always good. But yeah, so the ones we're looking at, and my friend Steve beat me to getting it. I might still get it because I want the book anyway. Is the Alien RPG from the Swedish company, whose name has now escaped me as well. Not doing very well on the naming front tonight. But yeah, it looks awesome. It's my favourite IP, as it were. I always used to think it was Star Wars, but I've realised it's definitely Alien. It just looks so cool. As I said to my mate, I was like, I think that's a really hard one to GM, because if Alien movies have anything across the board that they share, it's that tension and that, evil always ever present, looking over your shoulder, waiting to hear the motion sensor, all that sort of stuff. Hey Marcus, buddy, how you doing? You're not hanging around, mate? Starkey's Man Cave. I only play solo using GM emulators. I've purchased Dead Rain from Palladium, and I plan on using Google Maps for basing it in real areas. You do solo role playing? So explain to me a little bit more about a GM emulator, because I'm super interested by that. I've never ever heard of this. I've heard of solo role playing games, but they're very different to normal role playing games, as it were. It's more like fighting fantasy book or something like that. I've never heard of that. That sounds really interesting. Huh. Did I just say Swedish role-playing game company? And my one Swedish friend just pops in and says, hello. Maybe he felt like a little jolt go up his left leg. He's like, someone said Sweden. So I just got to reply to my friend that had... you're with the in-laws, eh, Marcus? Do you like your in-laws? I'm very lucky, because I do like my in-laws. I get on very well with my in-laws. I always feel so bad for people who you hear that they like can't stand their in-laws, and you know, just doesn't beg a belief, you know. Starkey's makeup. I had the idea of doing aliens via Skype, and when a marine dies, cut the feed. Fun if brutal. That's a great idea. And almost like, yeah, so like it's like their shoulder cams. Just it's a brilliant idea. I love it. Marcus, do fine. Just ate a homemade blueberry crumble. Blueberry. That's not something we would tend to crumble over here, buddy. I'm sure it's good though. We do like blueberries. We have them with yogurt and stuff like that. We crumble the very British forest fruits, but we love a crumble in any way or form. Yeah, I mentioned the Alien RPG, which I believe comes from a Swedish role-playing game company, but I can't remember the name. And literally, as I said it, you just went, Marcus, hi, just popping in to say hi. And I was like, does he know whenever I say Sweden? Is he tracking me? I do love that idea though, Starkey. That would be so much fun to be able to do that, to pull it off right. Oh, you've picked the blueberries yourself, Marcus, then absolutely. That's awesome. I don't know if we get blueberries in this country. I'm sure we do in certain places, but I wouldn't know where to look. Maybe up in Scotland or something, maybe. We get things like a lot of blackcurrants and blackberries and pears and plums and what else do we get? Right? Gooseberries, sloes. Is sloe gin a thing in? Actually, I doubt gin's much of a thing in Sweden, is it, Marcus? Starkey's Makeup. Emula works for me. Works for things that the GM would decide. Is there a treasure in a room? Yes, no, but I'd recommend watching people like Artichoke Dip, Geek Gaming, emulator books like Mythic. Marcus Brisbane. I do now. It's like the bat signal. Yeah, they're Swedish. Free League. That's it. That's the one I was thinking of. Yes. Every time I ever try and think of that company's name, I can't think of it. I don't know why. It just escapes me every single time. I'm just holding that again. All of that. I don't want to do too much gold on a trouble is gold works so nicely on the Mythic Battles minis, or certainly I think my way of doing gold works so nicely on them. Mr. Bobby Clark is in. Hello sir, how are we doing, buddy? You mentioned last night you were starting working on the army for the charity. You never went into any detail. So what army are you doing? I think you have mentioned it before on one of our streams, or we've discussed it separately. Yeah, what army are you doing, Bobby? How many thousands of points? Does it get just under 10,000? Is it going to have a building worthy of a notable architecture to display it? Also, what charity do you do it for? Because I'm sure you have told me that, and I'm sure you have. Marcus, gin is sort of popular here, but not overly so. We don't have a lot of slow berries, I think. Yeah, I mean, slow gin is I love slow gin. I'm not a massive one for drinking spirits straight, but slow gin is one that I absolutely can drink straight with little to no issue. It's lovely stuff. Well, we collect 2,000 points of Primaris, thankfully. Oh, blimey, that's essentially the equivalent of combat patrol or a necromunda gang for you, isn't it? I expect it to be done before Thursday lights are out. Let's see, that's that. I'm thinking of doing the verdigris on bronze effect on her shield that I did with Zeus. This is what I did with Zeus. How well you can see that. Try to focus again, please, camera. There we are. Yeah, I was really pleased with the verdigris effect I got on this, and I got it on there. I did it on all of his armor because he's Zeus, and although technically he's the dad of all the gods, he's actually one of the youngest because, well, he was born differently. Where am I? Marcus, I think blueberry and apple are the most traditional Swedish pies or crumbles. Yeah, apple goes always. Starkey's Man Cave, JD honey for me. Oh yes, that's again another one of the few spirits I could drink absolutely straight over ice. God, it's good. I really want to try JD Fire, the cinnamon one, because I'm not sure. I've discussed before that there's two kind of types of cinnamon. And I like certain types. I don't like the cinnamon that's just not that description helps you at all in understanding what I mean. It's for the Calm charity. Yes, you did tell me this. I've got 6 weeks of painting to cram into 4 weeks. No scenery either, thankfully. Oh, you'll knock that out of the park, Bobby. Of course you will. Lord Maiden is back. What did you miss? Not a lot. Me rambling, talking about Marcus's Swedish bat signal, which is essentially the silhouette of the Swedish chef from the Muppets. So yeah, how was what's the Kickstarter look like? What do you think? Ortega, hello sir, how are you? Can't stay tonight, we'll catch up on the rewatch. Thank you very much, buddy, no problem. Verdigris looks nice and soft. Yes, it was. Yeah, I was very conscious of not going OTT on it. I've seen a lot of people who use the verdigris effect stuff and they just slap it all over, and it's like, bloody hell, it looks like the Statue of Liberty, you know. It's way too over the top. Way too much for me when I see it like that. I'm just trying to remember how the bloody hell I did that aged bronze. I know it was like a sort of dark brown mixed with like a copper metallic or something like that. That's why you should write these things down, Luke. Huh. A fool of a took. Dropping bloody paints everywhere as well. Okay, yeah, that brown. I think I mixed in Pretty sure I'll use this brown because it's probably as close to whatever brown I would have used. And then I'll mix in a little bit of copper into that base. And then I dry brush it up with this real nice old gold, which is a lovely... I'm not a big fan of metallic paints as a general rule. See you later, Marcus. All the best. Bork, bork, bork. Go and put the chicken in the basket. Bobby Clark, I've been on Cereal Well for over a year. Thanks for mentioning all this alcohol, which is only once in a blue moon. Yeah, my wife was a big patron of Slimming World, and she did amazing with it. But yes, booze is not your friend. Lord Maiden. So the Kickstarter looks to be good. 2 crews of 5 models each, narwhals and fairies. Well, so it's like narwhals but on land, like mer-narwhals. Fairies and a supplement, 65 quid. That doesn't sound entirely unreasonable. Sounds perfectly acceptable kind of price. Are you going into it then, Lord Main? Did you go in? Was it you that told Andy about it in the first place? That made him reach out, or they reach out to him, however it went, I forget. You hunt the narwhals? How rude. Poor bloody narwhals. Oh, hang on. So it's not 2 crews of 5 models each. Right, so there's 2 crews, then there's narwhals, and then there's fairies. I thought you meant the 2 factions were narwhals and fairies. Am I getting you right now? Thin that down a bit. That's terrible. Why do I do so many stupid voices whenever I'm doing this sort of thing? I backed it, and no, that's not what I meant. Oh, it was Ortega. That's right. Oh, you know Ortega, do you? I see. I see. No, it looks like a fun little game. I like something that's a bit different. Tries to stand out. Not just be like every other bloody thing out there. It's certainly one of those things, and I don't think it's quite so bad in the miniatures hobby, in the board gaming hobby. It's amazing how much stuff that comes out that's just like, you just think, alright, that's essentially this with a twist, or that game with this mechanic added into it, or that mechanic taken away, or it's a streamlined version of that game. It's quite frustrating as to how often something doesn't feel very original. I don't feel that's quite so much the case nowadays in miniatures gaming. I think, thankfully, there's lots of very interesting worlds, and maybe some of the rule sets aren't crazy original, but some of them are variations of others, but the worlds in which they're in, those can be amazingly well varied, which is nice. I'm one of those people, desperately need variety. I'll never be one of those people who has that lifestyle game that they just commit to and they never touch or look at anything else. I just can't do that. I can see why people do though, and I'd kind of like to do that. I just know I never will. think this shield will look really good once it's been verdigreed, because it's very ornate and there's lots of recesses, so the risen parts will be able to stand out really nicely, whilst those recesses can contain all that nice verdigris effect. I think it might even come off even better, I think, than the one I did for Zeus. Chime. You know when you have something in your mind and you're like, oh, I hope I pull this off. That was the first time I'd ever used the verdigris effect. And you, as far as your image you add, you absolutely nail it. There's nothing quite as satisfying as that, is there? Lord Maiden, it looks to be good, but yes, I know Ortega, and he is the cause for me joining Blackjack Legacy and here. Well, thank you very much, Ortega, and yourself. I'm the same. I cannot stick to one game. I like lots of models. I blame you for the Rumble stuff. Have you got it yet? Is it there? I was, when I played Reichbusters the other night. Initially I said to my mate Steve, did he fancy a game of Rumble Slam? And then I suddenly realised that he was one of the people I had bought Reichbusters thinking he'll definitely play it with me. That'll be up his street. And then so I said to him, or we could play Rumble Slam. I said, I still don't know how to play it yet, but I know roughly how it works. I've got the flow of it. And he, as soon as I said that, there was no question as to what we were playing. It was a done deal. Yeah, I'll do her spear verdigris as well. Tie it all in a bit more. Where am I at? Maybe for the Rumble stuff. Lawman. So I have 3 cats left to paint. Ranger, Thief and Monk. Which one should I do next? Okay, I'm trying to... I'll go... Thief. 3 models. The Thespian, the Halfling and the Ghost Dad. And the experimental one. Going for more soon. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, I haven't got the Ghost Dad one. Junior, Junior, Senior is his name. Junior, Senior, Junior, something like I forget. It's a play on the whole Rey Mysterio Junior and Rey Mysterio Senior. I like the tongue-in-cheek humour in Rumble Slam. They pull it off nicely without it being over the top and just excessively like in your face. They did a very good job in Mythic Battles of ensuring no droopy staves or droopy spears. I know they did something. It was something quite new to plastic miniature production of board game levels, not like Games Workshop levels. There was some sort of new polymer or plastic or manufacturing method that they used to ensure it, and it's impressive how well they stay good. It's only, I think, the entire set of Mythic I ever had. Ever got. I don't know why I said it like a past tense. Oh, I didn't know he did that, Lord Main. Yeah, something like that. He's nasty. You knock him down, he gets up. I knew that. I knew that essentially you couldn't knock him down. But I didn't know he could like absorb somebody as well. Gobo the little bastard. Yes, CISL Cambridge. Is that you, Steve? No, who is that? CISL. Oh no, it's you, Steve. Yeah, I don't know, it might be Summers, I don't know. Yeah, my little goblin Yoda, he kicked 2 people's ass in a week and a half. Hello Stephen, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, CISL Cambridge. That must be you, isn't it, Stephen? Is this on? Were you accidentally on Sophie's account for a moment there, or your account, or something like that? I'm trying to think, or if it's Summers on George's account, maybe. It's Summers, right? There you go. Very weird. Very weird. Yeah, in Summers, in our game with Stephen, Yoda Goblin, he laid the smack down, even more so in our game. He really brought the pain to poor Stephen. Bobby Clark, my girlfriend had a moment of creativity today. She printed off Primaris Marine templates and coloured them in. It was pretty cool to see her suggestions on the colours, and no pink, thankfully. Oh, you mean like that's a cool idea. Yeah, that's cool. It seemed to they're just fuck Yoda. Nobody outside the Sith has ever said that. Maybe Luke did a couple of times on Endor, on Dagobah when he was being trained. But every now and then he was like, "Fuck Yoda, who is he? Who does he think he is? Why have I got to stand all these bloody stones end on end? Now, who the hell is he?" What colour, people, shall I do? I'm going to tie it in. I can't make it. What colour shall I do the run on a helmet, and then this? God alive, this is really hard to get. Why can't I see that camera? Right there. What colour should I do the bow bit coming off her thing there? Wow. Everybody's in. Hello, Stephen Murphy. How are you doing? Bobby, it was literally a grown woman doing colouring in. Bobby, that is nothing new right now. There have been colouring books for adults for a long time now. You can buy them everywhere. Adults are fully back into colouring in, and in fact, Mr. Stephen Murphy has an adult dot-to-dot book. Just to take it in even more of a bizarre way. Yoda was cheap getting Soul Calibur 4. Yeah, he was. I had the Xbox version as well. And Yoda was cool. God, I love Soul Calibur. What a great beat 'em up game that is. Okay, so I've got 1 vote for blue. Qui-Gon was a Jedi Rebel too. He probably muttered it. Well, yeah, he even... that's true. He was Yoda trained Qui-Gon as well, so he definitely would have thought Yoda was a dick from time to time. Everybody always says like, "Oh, why do you say your sentences like that, Yoda? For God's sake, talk like an intelligent man." Okay, blue. Steve Murphy, I swear by my dot to dots. I haven't seen. I hope you haven't shown any pictures of your dot to dots. Summers, yes, we played a lot of Soul Calibur in our day, right from the very first one. Playing it in Lyndon's bedroom. 60 sins in when 1 burger, Bobby. Bloody hell, that must have been an impressive burger. On the basis that you're probably allowed, and going back on what Sarah did, it was anywhere between, I think, what was it, 12 or maybe like 14 sins. No, I can't remember how many sins she could have in a week or whatever. 60 sins sounds like an awful lot, and it sounds like a damn good burger. Yeah, between Tekken and Soul Calibur. Oof. Oh, we played a lot of them in the day. I've only got one vote for Blue so far. On her plumage. God, I've got real bad hiccups. If you're anything like me, Bobby, there would be no questioning what your burger looked like because you'd have posted it on Facebook. Because I can barely make a piece of toast without posting it on Facebook to show off my mastery. I am that cliched guy. Look, I made a thing and then I ate it. Marvel at my glory. Also, I do it just to annoy one of my friends, Lee, who hates people posting pictures of their food on Facebook. It was one burger, but the size of two, with chips, now 2 beers, or 3 days of calorie in one meal. Good man. Clearly, looking at me, you could see I have had meals in that way. Yeah, I get what you mean, Steve. I must admit, I initially I was going to play a bit of a computer game, as I hadn't played much lately, and I thought, oh, I'll play something. And then I thought, you know, I really probably should do a live stream because I really haven't done that lately. Well, it feels like a while since I did the last one. It probably isn't nearly as long as I think. It feels like quite a while. What am I missing? Talons. It was Stephen that played Stephen Burfitt that played Reichbusters with me the other night. Damn, we had a good time. Super fun. I got home at I got to yours just after 7, about 7:15, and I got home and I think I was in bed about 2:45. So that was a bloody good gaming session. We did the first scenario and it was like sort of 9:45, and I'd sort of vaguely got stuff prepped already for the second scenario, just in case the first one hadn't taken very long, which it sort of had and it sort of hadn't. You know, it was still a learning game for us for the most part, but we did still get through it at a pretty good clip. But we decided to crack on, and it was a very good crack. Everything, I'd heard some very mixed things about the game. You know, more so the issues with the rule books and stuff. That, you know, and they are an absolute atrocity to rule books. They really are. They're so poorly thought out. I can't even. It's one of those things you can't even defend them. It's like, you know, sometimes you get those games you think, oh, okay, once you get that first game under your head and you've used the rule books a few times or whatever, you looked over a few times, then you get how they've laid them out, what they've tried to do. I can't even try and defend them like that. They're just an absolute shit show of a rule book. You know, no index, no this, no that. It's just utterly useless. But luckily, there are many amazing people who have made some very awesome player aids and stuff that made everything, well, just go pretty damn smooth, you know. I don't think there was very many points at all in which we had any issues. Although, Steve, I did find I've got a bag of you know those skills we kept looking for. I had a really little bag that I think is all of those skills that we were looking for every time we went to the beginning of the scenario. So sorry about that. Steve, it was a hell of a gaming session. Currently painting some Necromunda terrain and a few more Walking Dead minis. Yeah, your Necromunda terrain is awesome. That stuff from TT Combat with the modular wall sections and you know, like these sort of big chunky columns that have north, south, east, and you just go shoop, 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 and just slot stuff into them. Super cool. And as with all TT Combat stuff, super inexpensive. Right, it's no getting around it, Lordmain. You win. They're going blue. Nobody else responded. But what blue? What blue? Yeah, sorry about that, Steve. But now I've got it all really nicely organised. That was super satisfying yesterday when I found some really good organisers. They're a brand that I've got a bunch of them. They're called like Wham, and I find them in all the like cheap shops. Like, they're not pound shops, but they're the equivalents of like Thingamybobs in Ely. The guys will know. And they're really good. They're really good. They do them in all sorts of weird, wonderful sizes of this, that, and the other. Pink! No, I'm not doing it bloody pink. It's Athena. She can't gender stereotype her in such an awful way. Yeah, I've got Ultramarine blue out and I've got Leviathan blue. I wasn't too sure because I want it. I think. Yeah, maybe that's too dark. And the Ultramarine blue. Yeah, that's got a bit more of a. Yeah, we'll go the Ultramarine. Smurf hair it is. Just wipe that before I stick the back of my hand in it. Then wipe it on my face or something like that. Yeah, we'll go. Go on, the ribbon. Yeah, that works. Yeah, alright, I'm happy. Thank you, Lord Maiden. Good choice, sir, good choice. How's little Riley doing, Summers? Oh, I've just suddenly realised I'm sat here painting on a live stream. I probably should be spending time with my wife as it is our 8th wedding anniversary. She did ask if I was doing something else, so she obviously had no intentions that I was going to sit downstairs. Or we're going out next week. We're going out for an afternoon tea in Newmarket when the whole 50% thing comes into play. Which would be nice. So yeah, I think we're going to get like afternoon tea that would usually be £17.50 a head, but I think we'll get it for like £7.50 a head, I think, which would be nice. Lord Maiden Call, I think he said colour for my Mortal Gods. It was you, wasn't it, that was showing me about that game, Mortal Gods. I've forgotten about that. That's the trouble with the with people's like sort of nicknamey things on here. I did see on Facebook, and I just can't make that comparison and relate to thing. Bobby Clark, I was drilling a hole in a model before, carried on through it, and then drilled into their own hand, and didn't realise until there was blood. I swore I swore like a good one. Anyone had any hobbies? Oh God, yeah. I've never drilled myself. I've cut myself several times. I burnt myself on my hot wire cutter a few times. One of the worst ones, it technically wasn't an injury in the end, but it could have been pretty bad, was when I was a kid. I wasn't very old at all, and I must have probably only just got into 40k, and I was upstairs in my room and I was doing something with the minis, and something must have broken or something like that. I can't remember what led to it happening, but I remember very vividly what did happen. But I went downstairs to get super glue, and I knew it'd be in the, you know, the drawer that Michael McIntyre makes fun of, the man drawer, you know, that has batteries and anonymous keys and stuff like that. And I knew there'd be a little tube of super glue in there. And I remember I went to the drawer, took it out, and I sort of unscrewed the top and just sort of gave it that little squeeze to check it was all dried up. And I was like, oh cool, that's fine. And I didn't put the lid back on. And then I got to the bottom of the stairs, and as I ran up the stairs I went like that, and I just flicked super glue, and it went like dot 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 dot, and straight up in a line up my face. Luckily it probably hit, because it hit my cheek and stuff first. I blinked and shut my eye, but I super glued my eyes shut, mainly on my eyelashes and stuff. And it shows the classic like parent intuition, because I never said anything, I never did anything, I never told anybody, but I was obviously trying to sort myself out, and I was obviously panicking, and I was obviously making enough noise that my mum was like, Luke, you alright? It's like shouting up the stairs that to me. And I was like, yeah, fine. She's like, no, come on, what's the matter, what's wrong? And then I sort of admitted to her. I sort of went around the corner, I was like, Mum, I'm going to super glue my bloody eyes. And I remember tugging my eyelashes out to get it out. Oh, it was so painful. But that was super lucky, because I don't know what does getting super glue on your eyeball do? That can't be good for you. That's cilioacrylate stuff. It's quite a strong chemical, you know. My Facebook picture is the wizard character by Silver Shadespire Warband. You may have me confused, but I just ordered the Athenian box of Mortal Gods. I'm sure there was somebody in one of the groups who was discussing a game that was like Greek mythology based, but it wasn't. I don't think it was Mortal Gods, because Mortal Gods is the one from Osprey, isn't it? Maybe it wasn't you, Lord Bane. There was another game, I can't for the life of me remember what it was now, but it looked good. Super glue strafing run, yes, very much so. Summer's fast asleep at the moment, and hopefully will stay that way till the morning. Fingers crossed for you, mate. Fingers crossed. Remember those days. That's those days aren't that different for me now. I still hope they stay asleep instead of waking up at 5:30 in the bloody morning. I've got to that point now with my daughter, which is probably terrible parenting, but she'll come in. I'll happily send my son downstairs and just say, you know, go downstairs, chill out, watch TV or whatever. But once my daughter's up, she's fairly up. But now I'll just reach over to my bedside, hand her my phone and my wireless headphones, and say, just watch watch sea movies on my phone, and I go back to sleep for another 20 minutes, which is so unlike me because I used to just be somebody who just got straight up out of bed, no issue, never needed sleep. Kids, they like little tiny vampires just sucking the life out of you. That's a nice choice with this blue, actually, Orvain. Thank you. Orvain, Mortal Gods is from Futsal Miniatures, which did test them on a full Warlord Games. Huh. I'm completely confused now as to whether you were the person I was discussing this game with, or that was showing this game, or if you're not. But either way, if it's a game about Greek mythology, then I'm all for it. There is a game by Osprey, one of the Blue Book series, that's something Mortal Gods, that's set with Greek mythology, but it's not just called Mortal Gods. It's something Mortal Gods. I don't know if I make myself sound like I really know what I'm talking about on some of these streams. Really know my stuff. Okay. A little bit slapdash at the minute, but it'll come together. I do hate that little moment sometimes where you're painting a mini and you're just thinking, don't know if this is working. This looks a bit cack. And then slowly it just comes together. It's nice. I forgot I've got this and I've never tried it. Has anybody try this? The typhus corrosion technical paint. I'm not sure what I bought it for. I probably bought it just because I could. I can't think what it does, what it's supposed to do. This is the one I use. This is the GW one for verdigris. No, it's not. I don't think it's Broken Legion, Starkey. I'm gonna have to Google this now, aren't I? Of Gods and Mortals, that's it. Of Gods and Mortals. Oh, there you go, Lord Maiden of Gods and Mortals. Yeah, I've no idea if it's any good, but I've often thought about picking the book up just because I've got all this Greek mythology stuff. But then a part of me thinks, well, why would I bother playing of Gods and Mortals when I could just play Mythic Battles Pantheon? So it's sort of 6 of one, half a dozen of another. You know. So the way I use this stuff is I try and do it quite sparingly. It doesn't look like I use it sparingly at first. I'll put it on quite heavy, but then I'll take it off with a bit of tissue just to like rub it back. I just want it to get in all those the recesses and stuff and just have that slight burnishing on the edge of it. But I think this Medusa head shield is going to look really good with that verdigris and style. Our mate Helia, he he tried to do some verdigris on I think it was one of the Stormcast Eternal Underworlds sets, and I think he had quite good results. I can't picture them at the minute. I'm pretty sure it worked out rather well. So actually, this would actually probably look quite good if you let it dry a bit and actually kind of essentially rubbed it off, because it would look more like those, you know, where the surface keeps getting touched by human hand sort of thing, or touched by hand, and therefore doesn't oxidate. So it's a cool. I love the look though. Such a. I wonder how the people would have done this, like back when I was getting into all this, when I was like a, you know, 9 or 10-year-old kid. I wonder how people would, if they even did. I mean, look back at old paint jobs now, and you're like, wow. Even heavy metal painters. Yeah, I'm not overly shocked at that. Bobby Clark, it's good, that typhus. I use it on tank tracks and on things that need a grubby texture. So it's no, this isn't textured though, is it? Oh dear, spillage. Nickel oxide spillage. Small spillage, nothing tragic. I've just verdigreed the game, my cutting mat. Looks like I've been really doing this for years now. I am the Statue of Liberty. Different Gear TV, hello mate, how are we? Got everybody in tonight, all the regulars. God, hang on. This is the other thing you learn as being a dad, always have baby wipes on hand. They just solve all of the problems when your kid ends up eating a lollipop that they somehow end up covered in head to toe in it. Bobby Clark say, typhus, it has fine particles in it. They show them when dry, great for rusted sections. Oh, of course, I see what you mean now. Yeah, yes. That's, of course, that's what it does. Yeah. I might use that on some of these Mythic minis, actually, now that you're mentioning it. There's a few, like, yeah, some of the more corroded sort of ones. Oh, no, just literally rubbing off the paint now. Okay, in that case I won't. I'll bring it back with the actual paint. It's fine. Remotely dry for you. How are you, Different Gear TV? You well? I feel vape got. Stephen Murphy, I nearly painted some of a Legion the other night. I was thinking I'd have painted more of that by this lockdown, but I haven't. Hang on, Bobby, you used baby wipes for marble effect. Is that what you're saying? How do you use baby wipes for marble effect? Marble effect. I've been tempted to try marble effect before, but I am yet to pull the trigger on that one. It looks tricky. Grey. That's not what I want. That was all done. You did all that using baby wipes. What part in it? What part in it does the baby wipe play? Because to be fair, Bobby, that marble effect you did was unreal. It was absolutely amazing. So hats off to you for it. I just can't picture, you know, the purpose for it, as it were. I can't think what it would be for. Different Gear TV. Good mate, thanks. Stuffed from a meal out with the parents. Good. It's the best sort of uncomfortable feeling to be, isn't it? It's the most satisfying of the uncomfortables. Stephen, I painted a lot of Legion when we first went into lockdown, but now haven't touched any for a couple of months. We really need to play that game now, Steve. It's getting ridiculous now that we haven't. But that does also mean I've really got to start working on the terrain for it. Oh, of course you're in Spain, aren't you? Different Gear TV, I forgot about that. Not too much fiasco going on with regards to Spain and the UK at the moment. Bobby Clark, so you stretch the wipe in both directions, then rub little holes into the fabric. Stretch it a little bit to make it look irregular, let it dry, light over the base, secure it down with a tape, and airbrush colours on top of it. Okay. So you sort of use it like almost like a stencil. Is that what you mean? Sorry if I'm sounding amazingly ignorant right now, but it's pretty common for me. Steve, yeah, we invested so much time and money into that game. We haven't even come anywhere close to playing it. It's so true. It's not even remotely close. You know, games have been a discussion at best. You know, I've done one bit of test piece of scenery. We are shit. Lol, that quarantine situation, oh god, yeah. I mean, a lot of very pissed off people today. Nope. No. Bollocks. Buggered that up. Now I've got to commit. Sorry, just concentrating. Don't mean to go silent. Correct, but you determined the see-throughness of the fabric. All the little fibres are what create the veins in the marble. Oh, okay. Urbane, yeah, apart from painting and making models, I've had one day of gaming with someone, and that wasn't Walking Dead. And that was Walking Dead All Out War Game. Awesome. I've been quite lucky. I've had a game with 3 of the people who are in the chat. I don't know if Stephen... I don't think Mr. Hewitt is still here, but I played Rumble Slam with him the other week, and I played Rumble Slam with Summers the week before that. And then me and Mr. Stephen Murfitt had a bloody good game of Rockbusters on Saturday night. Saturday night, I think it was, yeah. Lord man, it was so good to finally do something with something. Yeah, tell me about it. Each one of those games, especially the one with Summers, I think I was probably smiling all the way home, you know. And then when we'd met up like a couple of weeks before, with another one of our friends, and you know, spent most of the time outside and stuff, so it was all fine. But I just felt like I'd kind of been released from prison. It was a very, very odd sort of feeling, because it was just such a release of, not anxiety is not the right word, because I'm not somebody who tends to suffer from anxiety, but like a just being sociable is something I know very well. I thrive on and I require. Yeah, it was just so good to see my friends. You know, Zoom's awesome, and we've had some hilarious and brilliant Zoom chats, but it's not the same. Although, having said that, I got in from Steve's after playing Reichbusters at, you know, not far from 2 o'clock in the morning, and the night before, myself, Steve, and his brother Kenny had been on a chat till the absolute wee hours of the morning, putting the world to rights. Good night, mate. Good night, Summers. Early start tomorrow. Happy 8 years. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself, buddy. Love to George. And Riley, of course. And Evie. Where am I catching up? Bobby, I painted bases chocolate brown and did a caramel brown Y shape on the top, and then cover with a prepared white spray on the marble stone colour. Nothing must move, so you keep it taped down and remove when dry. I did a tutorial Insta if you fancy trying. It's cheap and effective. I'll definitely have a look at it. I'm probably not going to bloody try it, but I'll have a look at it. Lord Main, oh yes, it was a sign of what it was like before and how things were. Yeah. It's like back in the olden days where we had friends and we could say hello to people. Oh, they were the days. Let's nearly try that. I think I'm trying. I realised the other day I need to need to get some new dry brushing brushes. I've either just misplaced mine or they've died a bit of a death. But mine don't feel so great anymore. where I don't feel like I ever have the dry brush for the right occasion. Yeah, so now I'm just gonna bring back some of the bronze, or sort of bronze effect that I do, and then I'll also put a little bit of metallic over it just to give it a bit of a shine. Like its original kind of tone. I think, like I said, I think verdigris is something you should go quite sparingly with, and not too excessive. It looks a bit too weird when it looks like it's the Statue of Bloody Liberty. I think you can see that. That's coming out. That's. We're just taking it back and just give it a far more subtle. I would have liked to have actually kept a little bit more on the face, but I'll live. That's not worth me losing sleep over. If I get this old gold, so I can hold a paint bottle under there perfectly. Can't hold a mini under there for squat. Really gently trying to bring back that sheen of the sort of well touched areas. This might be coming out a little bit better than Zeus's one, actually. Oh bollocks, I've just realised I forgot to put the bloody verdigris on on the spear tip and end. Pillock. Right, back to the verdigris. I was very, very tempted to prime a couple of Reichbuster's heroes and paint them tonight, but I didn't have time, and I'm wary of painting a few and then knowing full well that it's there's an awful lot of stuff I've got to paint if I start painting that stuff, so I'm wary of starting it and having, you know, me and Steve playing games and just constantly having one or two minis on the table painted and the rest are unpainted. Yeah, Bobby, that's what I'll get, is some makeup brushes, but yeah, actually no, I just need a few smaller ones. All my ones I've got at the moment, they're just a bit too chunky. They're a bit bigger than I want, and I prefer this type of brush for dry brushing, flat wedge, than I do a pum pum. Yeah, I don't like them quite as much when they're completely round. They're good for certain types of surface, but I find I prefer the slight bit of control I get from having a flat edge. I don't know why on earth I'm talking to you, Bobby, about how I see the better way of painting. Right, so yeah, that's that. the shield looks good. I'm happy with that. In fact, now I best do the gold dry brush on the armour. I just tried to shake a dry paint. Yep, I just did that, people. What a bellend. These dry paints are weird. This, I still don't know why I bought this or where I got it from, because I don't need this type of gold, because I've got it in Vallejo Metallics anyway, so I wouldn't have bought it for that reason. And until I opened it, or until I saw it when I was sorting my paints out, and I saw it said dry, and I was like, well, what the hell? And then noticed, look, it's essentially looks like everybody's Citadel paints with the old bullet pot did. Yeah, it looks like the old bullet pots did after a year, for all us poor people that had dried out paints thanks to Citadel's poor design. Bobby Clark. Oh, sorry, Daniel. Hello, mate. How are you? No, you haven't missed much, mate. I'm just still working on the wonderful Athena. Just finished her verdigris shield. Like I did, if you've seen it before, on Zeus. Oh my god, I cannot do that. Yeah, pleased with that. Backside of the shield, it's a bit more bronzed and stuff. But then I realised I'd forgotten to put the verdigris on the paint tip. The only one I have is Bobby, going back to this dry paint. I only have this one. I think, although I think I might have picked up white since. I definitely didn't have it originally. But then I tried the contrast. Yeah, so this, which is Nazdreg yellow. Okay, which, ow, bugger me, her spear is sharp. So Nazdreg yellow is the same as Athena's armour here, but here's a good view of it on Helios. That's I don't think I've buffed the gold on. No, I haven't buffed the gold on that yet. So that's just Nazdreg yellow contrast paint, which looks pretty good as a gold straight out the bat. You could happily use it as that. But then the way it finishes up, I'll pick up my Aries. You end up like this when you use this Sigmarite dry, and I buff it over the top, and it just ends up with this really cool old, you know, that real like Indiana Jones artifact gold, that insanely bright but with deep dark recesses with the etchings in it or whatever. And it was one of those little discoveries that was just like, wow, this is a bloody game changer. And I love it. I absolutely love the stuff. So yeah, I haven't, like I said, bought many more dry paints since, but the one I have in this sense is, I swear by it, it's still weird. It's a weird stuff though. It's very, very odd stuff. It's just great for giving that Nazdreg yellow a little bit of a sheen and just slightly, I was going to say highlights those recesses, well, essentially low lights the darker recesses, and I love it. Bobby Clark, yeah, I've got a couple of those dry paints, not even sure why either, never used them. Okay, see. Daniel, looking nice, thank you, mate. Why didn't we arrange a game of this at Aircon? It's been too long on my shelf. Absolutely, mate. I mean, the reason I wouldn't have arranged a game is because I didn't take it all bloody with me. I did have a few requests to take it with me from a few people, but I was like, no, I'm not carting it all the way up to bloody Harrogate, you know. So there was two of us in the car with plenty of other games. and I took it on I went on a board gaming sort of retreat. Friend Dan sorts out, called Gearstones, which is in this sort of, it's in a lodge in the, I want to say the Yorkshire Dales. I might be completely wrong. Yeah, Yorkshire Dales, I think it was. Right out in the sticks, out in the middle of nowhere. But it, and I took it because friend Flavian, he equally loves the game as much as I do. And I took literally all my stuff at the time, which I don't think was everything back then. I carted it all that way, and we played one game of it, and we used his, so I didn't even need to bloody take mine. Bloody ridiculous. But yeah, carted it in and out of the convention hall and stuff like that. Ugh, that's the trouble with conventions and stuff like that. You always take too many games. That's all part of it, you know. Taking all the games you want to play and then playing 10% of them because somebody turns up with a game you haven't got and they're like, oh, I really wanted to try that. Oh, bloody hell, that looks good. And you know, I think I've got it pretty nice and similar. Doesn't look too different. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Happy with that. Bobby Clark, did you know when Forge World first tried to perfect the Custodes miniature marine gold tanks, they used boot polish to make it look tarnished? Well, that's kind of I watch so much crap on YouTube, and I watch a lot of people who do like they'll make like Star Wars helmets or Star Wars like copies of Han Solo's gun and stuff like that. You know the guy from Andy from Tested, used to be in Mythbusters. He often uses a thing called it's called Rub and Buff, and it's essentially like I think it's a little bit like a sort of Brasso kind of polish, but it's got that metallic in it, and it's really good for giving that just sort of older, more worn metal look. And when I looked at this stuff, I sort of did this. I was just going to use that contrast paint. I thought, oh, that works as gold. And then I saw that it had this, and I kind of thought, oh, is this going to work a bit like Rub and Buff? And it completely did. And I was like, that's amazing. I am awesome. It was kind of how it mentally played out. Do her eyeballs while I'm hanging about it. Yeah, since I started doing this technique for eyeballs, it's been a bloody long time since I had a boss-eyed miniature. Adam Savage, thank you, Lord Maiden. Yes. Daniel, and as this, I'm keeping my eye out for Poseidon. That Titans will be my only extras. The expansion, but that expansion looks so good. Poseidon is actually, all of the expansions are very good. The big box expansions. Titans is probably maybe slightly the worst one ish, in that it's not as obvious that you'll ever you don't use the Titans as much, but the probably the best one of the big box expansions was Hera, because you got a lot of bang for your buck in that anyway. It felt like you had a little bit more stuff. I forget exactly what. There's a few very cool minis in it, but one of the cool things was Hera's in it, and she's the only god that is only 4 points, and she's still pretty cool. She's definitely not as good as the other gods, but she is cool, and having 2 more points to spend is awesome. What we call maybe that's just one of the many things that hobbyists did years back then, like you mentioned earlier. Yeah, it probably was. Yeah. What did I blaspheme? What, say the Titans isn't that cool? No, I do like them. It's my favourite game of all time. I love all of it. But I don't see myself using the Titans as much. What have I got to do? Do a bit of work on the owl. Do a bit of work on the blue. But I better finish off. Finish that spear back off. And a bit more to her hair, finish the blue off, finish the owl off, and then she's about done. What do I do with that gold? There we go. Yeah, exactly, Dan. Yeah, there's a little less. They're fun to mix it up a bit, but yeah, you are what you are, you know. It's more fun for your opponent to try and figure out how on earth to take down a Titan, you know, because that's not easy, especially Typhon, who's just insane. I think I'd rather play against a Titan than play as one. You know. I got another bloody Gaslands car today. I can't stop myself. This little bad boy. The Hudson Hornet. Saw it. I was like, yeah, I gotta get it. It's cool. So bloody many of them. You had a mask costume for when you did Rumble Slam. Are you going to go to a toga for a Mythic Greek God thing? No, unfortunately. My toga is at the dry cleaners, Bobby. I can put on the wrestling mask though, if you wish. But I'm not going to. I might actually. That work? No, that won't work. I don't know what blue to bring that back with. I might actually give it another bit of that blue. I know it's always a cardinal sin to paint with the, you know, the pot open, you know, with the GW style paints. But does anybody do that? Surely everybody for contrast paints just does it this way. I get it with the normal paints, but you want to take it out and thin it and stop the pot drying up. But that obviously just isn't going to happen with the contrast paints. Nobody like takes a bit out, puts it in a palette, do they? Because I sure as hell ain't going to do that. Yeah, I think just a second layer with that blue will do for those bits. Ever considered some remodelling? Several times I've been tempted to sculpt a proper lightning bolt for Zeus's hand. That little tiddly bit of lightning he's holding bugs me. Bobby Clark. Some do. So you do then, Bobby D. Fair enough. I just wasn't sure. I'm not sure I see the point in doing it. But each to their own. Have I ever considered remodeling? No, but I get what you mean. I completely agree. This is Zeus's lightning. Look at the the god that throws terrifying lightning bolts or blue silly string. One of the two. It looks like he's got a load of baling twine. Yeah, it's not quite the terrifying thunderbolt of the God Almighty Zeus. Yeah, but I'd be worried about mucking up the proportion of the mini and stuff like that. So I'll keep. I'm happy as he is. Right, let's pick. There's actually a lot more detail on this owl than I initially gave it credit. Robin, I have a tank for Gaslands. Warlord's Crusader tank. Nice. One of my, I have a 4x4 pickup that has a tank on the top of it. It has a converted from a 15mm tank turret on top. All the parts sticking out, weapons, etc. And they hold back on the bolt. It baffles me. Yeah, it does. You're right. I'd never really thought about it, but you're so right. There isn't anything to it. And he could have been like in a pose of throwing the bolt, you know, kind of thing, like the big sort of jagged like javelin kind of type of thing. Like I think there's only a point for me as I do so many hours painting, it prevents the contrast paint's property changing as the air gets in. I just pop contrast paint plus medium on a little bit. Yeah, that makes sense. I get it, Bobby. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Yellow for his eyes, and it'll be good as gold. Very close to considering her done. yeah, I think I'm going to call her. Obviously I'll have to do the base at some point, but I think we shall call her Finito for now. I haven't actually done any extra white on a toga though. Maybe I should. Yeah. Yeah, I will. I'll do a little bit. I know I've done it on, I think, the rest of the gods on their white toga-esque clothing, so I should probably do it on hers as well. Just to, oh, that didn't. Nope. Yeah, that has helped. Yeah, it's tucked back that slightly bluey grey that the apothecary white is. Yeah, happier now. Now she's done. Hang on, Bobby. I'll show you a few of the others. So that's the general basing. That they're all, just sort of slightly woodlandy stuff like that. It's Pan's base there. The only one I did anything slightly different on. This is my Prometheus, really. As you can see on his base, I made it so he was scorching the ground. How well you could see that it gets quite black, like around his feet and underneath the fire, the coal that he stole from Zeus. That's the general basing I'm doing on all of them. Just a nice bit of natural stuff. I'll go to the face cam because I don't tend to do any more painting. Hello, John, mate. How are we? Sorry, John. I'm sort of just getting to the point of wrapping up now. Sorry you missed it. So Daniel's saying contrast plates worth picking up. Keep thinking of repainting some of my Mythic Battles Pantheon models, but it's a daunting job. I did exactly that. I don't know if you ever saw, Daniel. I did. I was doing initially not monochrome, but a painting style that was like kind of had that 300 style where it'd be very, very muted colours, or in fact it was kind of generally monochrome, but then there'd be like a 2 or 3 colours that really popped, like on the Spartans, their red capes and their gold armour. That was the only colour on them, and the rest was monotone. In fact, so this is the pooch, and that was him in his monochrome thing, where he is essentially black, so I essentially just shaded him grey, but then just did the fire of his mouth and his eyes as his only colour. My mini's getting dusty. And I liked it in many ways, but then I just started to realise that there were too many minis it just wasn't going to work that well on, and that I was thinking like, oh, it's just not gonna look quite right. But then I tried the Mythic battles, the contrast paints, and that was when I was like, well, here's the answer. This is it's the way it has to be now. I've got to use them. Oh yeah, I forgot you can see it in the back here. Yeah, these are friggin' awesome from IKEA. It's a metal letter tray. It's an awesome bit of kit, and then everything. All of my minis they're all magnetised, so we'll just stick to it perfectly. Everything in there is magnetised. I haven't quite managed to make it all fit in there quite right. I can't get the Titans in it, obviously, but that's fine. But yeah, a fantastic solution. But yeah, going back to contrast paints, I think they're awesome. There's a few contrast paints that just couldn't work better if they tried. Snakebite Leather, Golem of Flesh, the Apothecary White, the Basilisk, no, the something black. I think it was Black Templar Black. The Basil Cannon Grey works really nice. Snakebite Leather, most of the browns, all the very natural muted colours work really nicely. Nasdrig Yellow is a really nice deep yellow, and the Yandin Yellow is a real nice popping yellow. All of the grey shades work really nice. All the brown shades work really nice. The reds are pretty good. I don't agree that the Blood Angels red is Blood Angels red. I think if you did them all in Blood Angels red, I certainly wouldn't consider them one and done, which GW claimed the Marines essentially were one and dones. I think they would need a real good dry brush at least, of a real popping red. That's going off topic anyway. I think they're brilliant. I think they're an absolute game changer. They're a huge time saver. They give you such confidence, and they give you such. I use them essentially as my base layer, instead of a real flat base layer that I wash onto or then highlight and wash and highlight and wash or whatever. I think the contrast give you a beautiful base to then do just some nice highlighting from, or maybe a bit of dry brushing depending on what the surface is. But I just think they're great. I can't champion them enough at this point. They're just absolutely fabulous. It's oh, God knows different gear TV. I can't for the life of me remember what they're actually called, but if you Google IKEA letter tray, it comes up. It's essentially the first thing that comes up. John, I've got some contrast paints and not used it. What ones have you gone for, John? I was very lucky at the time. I was working for Zatu, so I had a very, very good staff discount. So I was working for them when they got released, so I had complete access to them. So I just bought the whole lot straight out the bat. It's the only time I've ever bought a paint set. Yeah, how's the hobby room coming, John? It's looking bloody good. Different gear TV fits nice in it. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's I built all this shelving in here well before I knew of that letter tray IKEA hack, but it does work bloody well. Um, it's a I can't remember where I saw the hack for that. Um, for that letter tray thing, it wasn't like some genius idea of mine. Somebody else. It might even have been on the Mythic group. Lord Main, you worked at Zatty Games. Yes, I did. I I set up their board game cafe for them when. So when would it have been? We opened the weekend of UK Games Expo because I timed it. I timed it so that the Dice Tower guys, Tom and Z, would be staying with me before the expo as we do every year. So I timed it so that essentially I got them to cut the ribbon. So yeah, I've worked in bar management and retail and customer service, and some of the people, if they're still in the chat, will tell you many other jobs. But a lot of that, the food and beverage side of stuff, I've done for a lot of years. And yeah, Zatu wanted to open a board game cafe in Norwich, and yeah, they, I interviewed for it and got it, and it was exciting and it was good in many ways. Cool, found of Cavissel. That's it, Cavissel. Steve Murphy, so many jobs. Yes, so many jobs. Yeah, so I started with him, and it was all really exciting. And I thought, oh yeah, finally, I've found my job in the hobby. And unfortunately, it just wasn't. It wasn't the job I wanted it to be. It was too far of a commute as well. I mean, it was an hour and 15 minutes at the very best each way, and there was some things about it from Zatu's aspect of it that I wasn't happy with. Don't take this as me having a dig at Zatu or sagging off Zatu, because they were great, and they're as really lovely people, and absolutely brilliant. Just not the right fit for me in the end. But yeah, it was exciting and it was cool. I didn't abuse my staff discount nearly as much as I bloody well should have. But it was a good start with having Tom and Z from the Dice Tower over at the time, and getting them to cut the ribbon. That was a really cool day, and it was really cool setting up the shop and stuff like that. With all my other jobs before, I've walked into something that already exists. I never got the chance to set something up like that, so that was really an awesome experience, big learning experience as well. But it was cool. Yeah, I enjoyed it. John, hobby room is framed up, and I'm working on the electric. Hope to post more pics soon, and see if the Facebook group has any suggestions. Lord Main, cool, fair enough. Yeah. So you doing all the electrics? You doing it all yourself, John? Are you a handyman? I can do it all kind of guy. I've got a really nice big detached garage here. It was one of the reasons when I bought this house. I was like, okay, yeah, I think I might have to acquire that garage for my own. And I intend to do very much like John is with his, and I want to frame it out, make it into my studio, game room, workshop. I do a lot of sort of carpentry stuff. Well, I do a lot of taking pallets apart and putting them back together in various ways. John Hepburn, just smart enough and dumb enough to take on big projects. Amen, brother. you have my sympathies and admiration. But yeah, we've got a really cool garage. It's a real good size. Like, it's essentially the width of a good, family size car, plus 2 feet on each side of that car. So it's a real good size, really, really good big space. And essentially I need to do basically just what John's doing. I need to frame it out, board it, and get all the shelving up, just make it nice. I don't want it to just be, a boarded and framed out garage. I want it to be a nice place to go and a nice place to sit and work and a nice place to play games with my mates and stuff like that, and my son and stuff like that. It'd allow me to play all those war games and stuff that I'd like to play again, and get a lot more terrain doing, because it's, I call this my cockpit because it's very everything's within hand's reach. It's an awesome little office that I've converted really well, and I've used the space to its absolute potential. In fact, I'll give you a little tour while you're here. It's hard to see obviously past the light, but there's all my paints and everything on those shelves, and then there's racks of games up there, a whole load up there, the shelf above me, that's the latest addition to the shelves, and then next to me here there's even more, and there's ones above that. So yeah, it's an awful lot in here. Yeah, it is, John. It is. It's one of these. It's essentially the fourth bedroom of this house, and it had a bed in here when we came. It's one of the few things that got left behind in the house, and literally, the space in front of me, the doors to my right, and the rest of the width of the room is the width of a single bed, and the length is, if I remember rightly, the length of a single bed. So you basically have just literally the channel of the width of a door down the side of it. It was like, I wouldn't even put a guest up in a room like this. It's not, it's a cell. It's not a bedroom. But for an office or something like that, that's perfect. Sorry, was that a bit creaky and weird with all that noise? It's the headphones, sorry. I didn't think about that. But yeah, it's cool, and I've done a lot with it. It'd be nice to be able to move some of this out of here. Right, anyway, I think we should call that a night, gentlemen. Thank you very much for everybody who's joined me, and thank you very much who came and went, and thank you to anybody who's watched it back again another time. I appreciate it drastically. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the week. Hope everybody enjoys lockdown in whatever way or form, or going back to some sort of sense of normality. Enjoy yourself and stay safe. All the best, everybody. See you later. Bye.